Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today for the Compassionate Cooking series. We're going to cover dinner tonight, and I'm super excited because Sarah is heating up the grill, and we're going to get some yummy grill barbecue recipes that are plant-based, healthy, and easy. Um, so with that, I'm gonna hand you over to Sarah and I'll get out of the picture. If you have questions, please use the comment box. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I'm super psyched, to be honest, to cook the recipes that Sarah is showing us today. And with that, I'm gonna hand you guys over to Sarah Easton to get going.
Okay, thanks so much, Nicole. Today we are out in my backyard, and I hope my dogs don't bark. But as Nicole mentioned, we're going to be covering easy dinner ideas, and we're going to be cooking up some stuff on the grill. So I just started my grill, and I wanted to mention that this is the fourth session in our 5-part cooking series. We covered the plant plate, reviewed a little bit about plant-based nutrition. We talked about breakfasts and easy lunch ideas. And now we're going to just go into some of my favorite dinner ideas and also stuff that I love to cook on the grill. So all of these videos are archived on the YouTube page for the Good Life Refuge, and I want to give a really huge thank you to Nicole and thank you to the Good Life Refuge. They are an amazing organization. What we're going to be cooking today is we're going to be cooking up some steak fajitas, and we're also going to be cooking up barbecue skewers, and we're going to be doing tempeh ribs. And these are all great protein-filled recipes. They have all those food groups that we've talked about in them, and just really fun ideas for your plant-based success. So in the first module, we reviewed the plant plate, and we also learned about the 5 fabulous vegan food groups. Those are legumes, including beans, grains, and then we also have seeds and nuts, and we also have fruits and vegetables. And so you want to also be sure that you are getting all of your meals are nutritionally balanced to the greatest extent possible. And it's important to keep your meals nutritionally balanced because you want to be sure you're satiated, that you have enough to fill you up and make you give you enough energy and make you feel like you are enjoying and you feel full and can continue to have success on your plant-based diet. So eat those 3 servings of beans, and you want to get that essential amino acid lysine. And then you also want to ensure that you're eating lots of calcium-rich vegetables, and you're also eating just lots of fruits and vegetables in addition to all those other items. So like I mentioned, the first thing that we're going to cover are some really easy skewers. And I've made skewers probably for my whole life. My mom probably made them when I was a kid, but I really love skewers. And I actually found my favorite combination of vegetables from this book. This is from Jazzy Vegetarian, and I love this book. It's called Vegan for Her. It's Laura Theodore, and this is just a fantastic book. It just has so many traditional recipes veganized, those really comfort foods, tons of comfort foods. It's so great, and she really helped me learn what I really like in a skewer, and I think you will like this too. So what I have some red onion. I'll just tip this up. I have some red onion, some chopped mushrooms. I'll show you the onion. And then I have some chopped sweet peppers. And then I also have a little bit of cubed tofu. And these sweet peppers come like this. This is another nice convenience food just to dip in hummus or other types of dip. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just show you how to quickly skewer these up. I have my mushrooms, and I'm just going to thread them through the skewer and my peppers, and then my tofu. And we'll just do another little round. Mushrooms, onions, pepper, and tofu. And I really like this combination of vegetables. You could add any vegetables that you like. You could add yellow squash, you could add zucchini, you could also add, what else could you put on there? Eggplant. There's a diversity of things. You can even put some fruits on this as well. But this is just my favorite thing. I am a huge mushroom lover, so I love to make these skewers. And when you are all said and done, you have a nice little skewer like this. And what I'm going to do, I've preheated my oven, I've preheated my grill. And sometimes you can put, or you could put these directly on the grill, but it sticks. You could add a little bit of oil, or there are probably some little pads that you can put on there on the grill so it won't stick. I don't really like to cook with a lot of foil, but I'm going to do that for this recipe. So I'm going to put my skewers directly on the foil, and I'm going to let those cook for a bit. And I'm going to let them cook. And then when they're, pretty well done, I'd say half to 3/4 of the way done, I'm going to put a little bit of this barbecue sauce. And this is a homemade barbecue sauce, and I love to make homemade barbecue sauce. But you could also buy some at the store as well if you're just wanting to do something quick. But like I said, this combination of ingredients is really fantastic. And you could sub out some of the protein. You could do tempeh on the skewer as well. So we're just going to let that cook, and then we'll just use our little my little brush to put on some barbecue sauce after we do a few more recipes. So like I said, I don't really like to cook with a lot of foil, but for this recipe, I think, so it won't stick, I'm going to put it on foil. Now we're going to move on to the next recipe. And the next thing, I'm really excited to show you guys this, because I love making these little steaks. And what we have here is a pretty big portobello mushroom. And this is what I'm going to use for the base of my steak. And I love to eat mushrooms, as I mentioned previously, but mushrooms are also a really good, they give you the flavor of umami. And what umami is, it's a meaty flavor, and it has a really nice texture. And it gives, when people say they are craving meat, they're generally craving umami. And so if you might be craving meat, try some mushrooms, because mushrooms will give you that, they will give you that it's kind of like a comfort food. They'll give you that, like, I guess, that sense that you're eating meat. So, and I also wanted to mention that all of these recipes are available. We can send them to you, and you can email us at the email addresses that are going beneath your screen. But basically, we've talked a lot about marinades, and what you want to do when you're cooking vegan is build that flavor profile. And a great way to build that flavor profile, I really, really like to tell people, marinating things is so important. And so we're going to do a quick marinade. And what I have here is just a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of soy sauce, and a little bit of balsamic vinegar. And the balsamic vinegar, when you're making this steak recipe, it's really important to add a little bit of balsamic vinegar. So I'm going to add just about a teaspoon of balsamic vinegar. It depends on how many mushrooms you're marinating. And then I'm going to add about a teaspoon of the soy sauce. And then I'm going to add about a teaspoon of the olive oil. And now it depends on the other flavors that you want to add. Since we're doing fajitas, you could also add a little bit of Mexican spice. This is a great spice blend. It helps build that flavor profile. It helps keep your food interesting, but it has chili powder, paprika, cumin, garlic. It has just a lot of flavors that you really want to add to keep your vegan food interesting. And if you're cooking for other people, it's really important to add to add flavors. So I have the marinade in along with the portobello mushroom, and I'm just going to give this a good shake. And I would keep this in the refrigerator for 2 to 3 hours at minimum. You can even do it overnight, but sometimes they'll really soak in some of those flavors. And also when it's in the refrigerator, just kind of keep shaking it. And I will probably make that later, but I've got one already prepared. And so I grilled this one. It's kind of hard to see, but it kind of already does look like a little steak. So what I'm going to do is just kind of show you guys how to, and I apologize for the sirens, but I'm going to show you how to, oh, and I forgot to mention, once that's marinated, you want to cook it on the grill for about 10 to 15 minutes. Just be careful and flip it several times. Just be careful because it will burn pretty easy. And I'm sure, pretty sure most people have grilled, but obviously the lower portion of the grill is very hot, and then the top portion is very a lot cooler. So I would put like buns and breads on top because they don't need to cook as long. And if you put stuff on the bottom, then it's gonna cook quite quickly and it will burn. You always want to watch your stuff too to be sure that it's not burning. So again, we have the little steak. I cooked this previously, and now I'm just gonna cut it. And when you cut it, you just kind of cut it in strips. And I don't know if you can see this, but it kind of looks like steak. And it actually tastes really good. And for those folks that want that meaty flavor and want that meaty texture, this is a great alternative. And so can you see that, Nicole? Kind of hard to see.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. But anyway, it's a really delicious, really easy way to make a steak. And you can keep it whole, and you can serve it with like mashed potatoes and green beans, add a little bit of gravy. And then another one of my favorite recipes is just to put it on a bun and then serve it with a little bit of pesto mayo, and then also a tomato on top, and it makes a delicious burger. So I am going to just really quickly get my other ingredients for my fajitas. And you can also do these gluten-free very easily, or just make it out of make it into a taco. Use a corn tortilla, or you could even use like a lettuce wrap or something like that. So what I made some fajita veggies. I chopped up some peppers and onions, and then I cooked them previously. And then I'm just going to add them. I think everybody's probably made fajitas. And I'm just going to add them to the tortilla. And then add a few pieces of the steak. And I also have a little bit of guacamole. And as I mentioned previously, I like to get things that are quick. You could also add a little bit of fresh avocado as well. But, when you're trying to save time, get those convenience foods. Just going to add a little bit of the guacamole, and then I have a little bit of cilantro that I'm going to add too. And there you have it. Just a very quick and easy recipe for fajitas. And like I said, you can make these gluten-free. You can also make them with tacos, or even gluten-free tortillas too. So I'm going to check on the skewers real quick and give them a quick flip. Oops, they're kind of sticking, so be careful about that. So I'm glad that I put the foil down. Okay, and then I also wanted to just talk a little bit about why I like grilling. I don't think I mentioned that, but I love grilling because it builds that flavor profile, and it also is really good for when it's really hot outside. I think most people know that. Probably a lot of people have eaten off the grill, and I hate heating up the house, so I try to cook on the grill a lot. And you also can pre-prep vegetables and then put them in things like salads. And then also, finally, it's a great way to use seasonal produce. You can get like a nice eggplant at the store, or you can get peppers, you can get corn. There's all sorts of stuff that you can get from the farmer's market or from like your local farm. And it's a great way to use seasonal produce and also keep your house cool. And grilling is obviously a great thing for camping and get-togethers as well. Okay, and so the final thing that I have is we're going to talk about tempeh ribs. And tempeh, I'm sure probably some people have tried tempeh. Tempeh, when I first tried tempeh, I was not a fan. It's really kind of dry. But tempeh is a cultured whole soybean. The key to tempeh, to cooking tempeh, is that you need to marinate it, or you need to steam it, because it will become it'll become a little softer, and then it will also suck in some of those flavors. So I like to steam it about 8 to 10 minutes, and then I also like to marinate it as well. So, and another thing is, some people will open up a package of tempeh and they'll see a little bit of this mold on it, and that mold is actually just fine. Don't throw it away, because this is part of the culture. Actually, it's not really mold. It's actually, there's no harm in that. If you're concerned, you can cut that off, and it'll be just fine. But go ahead and use it. Don't throw it out. It's perfectly fine. I'll just cut that off just to show people. And the way I make up these little riblets is I cut these into half-inch little chunks. I think I'm going to turn this off because I feel like that's burning. And so then what I did with these tempeh ribs, I better pull this out. What I did with these tempeh ribs is I marinated them in barbecue sauce, in that barbecue sauce that I made. And this is such an easy recipe. And it's, I think kids would really like this. I think, adults that are craving meat might really like this as well. And the reason I use tempeh is because it holds up really nicely. It's very firm. And I marinated this for about 2 hours. It might be good to marinate this one overnight, but it's really, really flavorful. It's a fun thing to have. It makes people think of, some of the recipes that they had when they were kids. So, and this is another thing. This is one dish that would be really good. You could bake it as well, but we're obviously cooking it on the grill. And so what I think I'm going to do is put it on the top burner for now. And this one too, I feel that this one's going to get a little bit sticky. So I'm just going to put a few of these on the grill. And I'd grill those for probably 10, 15 minutes. And then you can kind of taste them to see if they're done. And then one other thing that I did not mention that I wanted to mention is that if you live in a house that's a multivore house, which means you are plant-based and another person may, some other people in your house may not be, it's really helpful if your family is respectful enough to allow you to have your own side of the grill. My partner is not anywhere close to vegan, but he is at least respectful enough to leave me half of the grill. And if you go anywhere and use a grill, if you go to a party or camping, just make sure to clean the grill really well, and just like I said, just see, hopefully your family will be respectful enough to not cook meat on your grill, because that could be very upsetting for some people. So, yes. And, I did also want to mention with our fajitas, I like to pair the fajitas with a little bit of refried beans. And we mentioned previously that we need to be sure that we're getting that essential amino acid lysine. So we want 3 servings of beans. So this is a really nice meal. It's a very good combination of fiber, some fat with the avocado, and some healthy proteins as well.
So Sarah, just a quick question regarding the refried beans, because there are so many out there, and I've noticed that, there are some that say they're vegetarian and some say nothing on the can. So if you want to keep it plant-based with the refried beans, what do we need? What's the difference between the vegetarian ones and the regular ones? Are they using like a beef stock or a chicken stock to make it?
They actually use lard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it will be pretty clear. The vegetarian ones are going to say, like, I would just read the ingredients. Like this one says organic prepared black beans, water, and sea salt. And then some of them will have it very clear that they're vegetarian. And if they do add the vegetarian ones, if they have a little bit of oil in it, it will be like olive oil that they use. So I would just read the ingredients just to be sure that they don't have lard. And they're made with, in restaurants, a lot of times they're made with lard, which I don't, it sounds kind of awful to me to be making stuff with lard, but people love it. So let's see. And what I'll do really quickly is with the skewers, they've gotten pretty hot, but let's see. And they have a hard time sticking, so when you do this, you'll just have to have like a spatula or something handy. And then I'm just gonna brush a little bit of the barbecue sauce on them. And like I said, cook them 3/4 of the way and then brush the barbecue sauce on, and then cook them a little bit longer. You don't want to have the barbecue sauce totally cold. So you want to brush it on, but then cook it a little bit more. Okay. And let's see, I believe. Oh, and then the final thing that I wanted to mention, or not the final thing, but one of the final things regarding the grill is grilled tofu is also an excellent plant-based protein to cook on the grill. You can put it in a nice marinade. Here's my dog. Interested in what I have going on? Go away. And tofu is an excellent protein, and you can marinate it in any type of marinade, or you can also stick it on there directly, and it gets those nice lines on it. And then you can brush on any type of sauce. One of my favorite marinades is a miso marinade. And I learned about this miso marinade a long time ago. It's from Barbecue University. You can just Google Barbecue University miso marinade, or tofu steaks, I think is what it is. And it's a miso marinade, and it's delicious. So, yeah, and tofu is really, really fun to grill. And then I wanted to move on, just finally wrapping things up. I want to talk about a few other vegetables that you can grill. Grilled vegetables, you can put them on the grill, cook them, and then you can make really nice salads. I love to make a marinated red pepper salad, and then you could also put them on your green salads. You can make some corn salads, but you can also make these really lovely platters of grilled vegetables, and pair them with some nice dips or some marinated mushrooms, marinated olives, and that's actually just a really beautiful dinner itself. But some of the other vegetables that you can grill are obviously corn, and you can grill corn in the stock itself. You just have to clip off these hairs. And then you can do potatoes. Obviously, I think everyone knows how to grill potatoes, but cabbage steaks are pretty nice on the grill. Asparagus, zucchini, sweet potatoes, cauliflower steaks, which is what I'm going to show you to wrap this up. You can also do polenta, which polenta is like a little corn cake. And then eggplant. I love baba ganoush. That's one of my favorite things to make with seasonal produce. And yeah, so what I wanted to show folks, and for anyone that hasn't made cauliflower steaks, it's just a really fun thing to do. Cauliflower steaks, I've actually found the best way to cook the cauliflower steaks is to pan fry it or to bake it. I really like to pan fry it because it gives it that nice caramelization. Just pan fry it in a little bit of olive oil and add some really nice herbs like turmeric or cumin. So the one thing that I wanted to show you about this is just how to cut these into the nice little steaks. And you will get probably 2 steaks out of this, and then you'll get like some other crumbs basically. And that's the other benefit of pan frying it or baking it, is that you'll have those like odd pieces that you can also bake. And so you're just gonna cut this lengthwise. And these are the pieces that you could maybe do a little mini steak with that, but it's not very often. You'll mostly get pieces like this. But then you want to cut it fairly thick another time. And this is your cauliflower steak. And actually, people do them thinner, but it just depends on your level of expertise. They're actually really good if you cut them thinner, and then they really suck in that oil and the caramelize really nicely. And you want to be sure to keep the stock intact. You don't want to cut out that stock because that's what holds it together. So, and like I said, you could grill this if you would want to. You could also marinate it. But one of my favorite ways to make this is just to pan fry it with a little bit of turmeric, some salt, and cumin. There's some other great recipes online as well. And then the final thing that I just wanted to mention, you also can grill some fruits. And some fruits that are really nice to grill are pineapple, watermelon, and peaches. And you can also do use those skewers that I used previously, and you can skewer up a bunch of fun fruits and pop them on the grill for a nice dessert. And then you can also add those fruits into salads. So also store-bought veggie burgers are really good. Like I mentioned previously, we have the Impossible and the Beyond Burger. One of my favorite gluten-free, super healthy, whole foods, plant-based burgers is called Noble. And they use lentils and other really nice roasted veggies. I think I brought some up to Nicole one time, and everybody loved those. I think you can get those at Natural Grocers. And then some other products are like the brats, No Evil Foods, Beyond Burger, or Beyond Sausage, I think is what it's called. And then the Tofurkey brats are really nice, especially to take camping or to take to potlucks and things like that. And I believe that covers it. I don't know. Did I show you the final product? And this is going to need to cook a little bit longer, but it's just a really, like I said, I love barbecue sauce, and I just love this combination of tofu, onions, mushrooms, peppers. You can add any vegetables that you like. Experiment. I did a lot of experimentation with skewers, and I finally found the ones that I like. This is the flavor combination that I like. I used to put zucchini on them, and the zucchini didn't really work for me. So there are some vegetables that you're going to like. I've also tried to put fruit on, combine the fruit with the vegetables, and I didn't personally like it, but some other folks might like it. So I guess that is all that we have for today. And I did want to mention that we will be going live again on Wednesday at 3 p.m. And we're going to be talking about easy and healthy plant-based desserts. We're going to be making a really nice fruit dip and stuffed cheesecake stuffed strawberries. And I might even have some nice cream to show as well. So we'll see what I come up with. But anyway, I want to give another huge thank you to Nicole for having me and for hosting this wonderful series of classes. And if you guys haven't been to the Good Life Refuge, when we are able to gather and have events again, I highly recommend visiting. It's such a nice sanctuary, just so beautiful out there. And the animals are so well cared for. And just a really, it feels good to be there, I'll say. So I really appreciate all of Nicole's work, and I just love working with her. She's been wonderful to work with. So yeah, and just one final shout out to my website. If anyone wants to learn more about me, it's saraheastonhealth.com, and I'm trying to put more recipes on it and just keep adding content to that. So yeah, reach out to us if you want these recipes, or if you want to see any of these videos, look on YouTube. And thanks for joining us, everyone.
Well, thank you so much, Sarah. As Sarah said, we have the recipes. We're more than happy to email to you. We also have our website updated, so there's some educational information there. It's called the Compassion Toolbox, and it has a section about plant-based nutrition with book recommendations, recommendation for documentaries, as well as recipes and how to get started. So if you want to check that out, you can find that at goodliferefuge.org under the Compassion Toolbox. So yeah, thank you. We're looking forward for Wednesday. And then don't forget, we have our final roundup will be with our nutritionist, Adiani Williams, who will be doing a Q&A. And if you have questions upfront about plant-based nutrition, please email it to me so we can include it in the Q&A. And with that, I'm really hungry now, but I have to feed our animals first because they are ready for their dinners, and we've pre-prepped them, so we're not going to run too late. So yeah, have a wonderful rest of the evening. Enjoy the recipes, and yeah, touch base with us. And I probably, once we have this concluded, we will put it also on our website under Sarah's name. So if you look for recipes, they will be under Sarah Easton Health Coach. Yeah, have a wonderful night. Thank you, Sarah, so much for all your work and the preparations and the mouth-watering recipes. It was fun to watch. And yeah, have a wonderful evening, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.